For nearly a century, one company controlled the way the world captured memories. From weddings and vacations to childhood photos, millions of people trusted its camera and film. It built an empire so powerful that the memories themselves became a part of its branding. Its business model was genius. Sell cameras cheaply, then make billions from films and photo printing. The more pictures people took, the more money the company made. At its peak, it dominated almost entire photography industry. Then something unbelievable happened. The company invented the technology that would replace a film forever, but became too afraid to fully use it. And that fear slowly destroyed one of the biggest brands in history. Hi, I'm Shruti. Welcome to One Company, One Story. This podcast is about one company, decision taken by that company, and a lesson to be learned. Also, this podcast is based on publicly available information and is intended for educational purposes only. So, by this time, did you guys take a guess about what company are we going to discuss today? Well, it's about Kodak, a company that went from owning nostalgia to a bankruptcy, crypto, and even pharmaceuticals. Before we begin, don't forget to follow our One Company, One Story Instagram page for updates, behind the scenes content, and episode highlights. You can also listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Music. Just search for One Company and One Story and join us there. With that said, let's get into today's episode. The Rise of Kodak. George Eastman founded Kodak in the year 1888 with one mission: make photography simple for everyone. Well, at that time, photography was difficult, expensive, and mostly it's only for professionals. Kodak changed that forever with one legendary slogan: you press the button, we do the rest.
Oh yeah, you got so much style with that silly old smile. Come on, get you with a Kodak disc.
And that rest became one of the smartest business models ever created. Kodak sold cameras cheaply, sometimes almost at no profit. But the real money came later. Like how? Well, that is via film rolls, photo printing, and chemical processing.
Introducing disc photography. The beginning is this: a unique film disc. A disc that knows when to flash and can flash have been missing. The new Kodak disc camera.
I know, now for our generation, this sounds a little strange because we grew up with digital cameras and smartphones. We clicked a picture and instantly see it on screen. But back then, photography worked completely different. People had to buy a film roll and place it inside the camera. So every roll had a limited photos, like maybe up to 24 or to 36 pictures. So after clicking photos, they couldn't see it immediately. They had to take the film to a photo store. So Kodak had their own photo store where the chemicals were used to develop the pictures onto paper. And sometimes people waited days just to see whether the photos came out blurry or good. Oh my god, I really can't believe myself being in that generation, like where I have to wait so long just to see if my picture turned out to be a good one or a blurry one. And then this is where the business model became a genius. The more photos people took, the more money Kodak made. It was a perfect ecosystem. Like you bought a Kodak camera, Kodak film, and developed it at the Kodak store. Everything was vertically integrated. Kodak didn't just sell photography. At its peak, they dominated almost the entire photography industry. the complete market domination. So throughout the 20th century, Kodak became one of the America's most powerful companies. At its peak, Kodak controlled around 95% of the film market and 85% of the camera market in the US. The company employed nearly 150,000 people. Kodak wasn't just a brand, it became part of a culture itself. People called memorable memories, like Kodak moments, from weddings to baby's first step. Kodak owned nostalgia. And then something unbelievable happened. Obviously, when everything goes smooth in your life, something unbelievable comes, for sure. So the Kodak invented the digital camera. In 1975, Kodak engineer Steven Sasson created the world's first digital camera prototype.
What can a picture be? Well, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be on paper. Or a picture can be whatever you want it to be. Because now, Kodak gives you the power to take pictures further.
It was huge, slow, and it's also low quality. But it worked really good. Kodak literally invented the technology that would eventually destroy film photography. And this is where the story changes. The inventor's dilemma. Kodak saw a digital photography coming decades earlier. In fact, by the late 1970s, Kodak engineers predicted that digital imaging would eventually overtake traditional film. So why didn't Kodak dominate the future? Because Kodak became afraid of killing its own business. Film photography was insanely profitable. The film generated massive margins for them, whereas the digital cameras did not. Kodak executives feared that if the digitals succeed, people will stop buying film. And they were right. Digital photography threatened film rolls, photo paper, chemical development, and the Kodak's entire business model. So instead of aggressively leading the digital revolution, Kodak just hesitated. The company tried to protect the past instead of building the future. This is the classic example of the investor's dilemma. Sometimes companies avoid new technology because it threatens their current profits. So by the 1990s, Kodak tried moving into digital. Finally, the company spent billions on research, but there was one major problem. Kodak still thought like a film company. They treated digital cameras as the way to eventually sell the prints. While the world was moving towards online sharing, digital storage, and later smartphones, meanwhile even their competitors moved faster. Companies like Sony, Canon, and Nikon adapted much better to the digital world. And then came smartphones. So eventually, companies like Apple turned cameras into app inside phones. Photography became instant, digital, shareable, and moreover, it was all in the same device, which is called mobile. And the world no longer needed a film. Kodak's profit collapsed. Employees dropped from around 140,000 people to under 5,000. And in 2012, Kodak filed for bankruptcy. That was just a drop. And the company that once defined photography had become irrelevant in the digital era. The weird second act. But you know what? Kodak's story didn't end there. After the bankruptcy, the company kept trying new identities. So at one point, Kodak launched Kodak Coin, that is a cryptocurrency for photographers. Its stock price exploded temporarily during a cryptomania and then crashed again. And during COVID, Kodak shocked everyone by announcing a move into pharmaceuticals. The US government even approved a massive $765 million loan to help Kodak produce pharmaceutical ingredients.
Yesterday, after news that the U.S. government awarded the firm $765 million in loans.
Most people heard about the Kodak loan on, July 28th. We have President Trump himself talking about the $765 million loan. We have Peter Navarro, the trade representative, going on TV talking about it. And the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, thanking the...
And suddenly, the company known for film roles was trying to make drugs. People were totally confused. Was Kodak a photography company? Wait, are they a crypto company? Or are they a pharmaceutical company? And the Kodak had lost not just its market, but its identity as well. The real business lesson is that Kodak's biggest mistake was not a lack of innovation. It's actually invented the future. The real problem was fear. A fear of disrupting its own profitable business. Kodak protected its own revenue for too long, while the market changed around it. And by the time the company fully reacted, customers' behavior has already moved on. One lesson to be learned from this episode is that success becomes dangerous when companies get addicted to what once worked. Companies that survive are not always the ones that invent the future, but the ones willing to adapt to it. Staying at one place doesn't help you out. You should always be ready to adapt whatever that is upcoming in your life. Just grab the opportunity and then move on. Well, that was Kodak, the company that captured the world's memories but failed to capture the future. This is One Company, One Story, where we break down businesses through one defining decision that shaped their success or a failure. This is Shruti signing off. See you in the next episode. Until then, stay updated. Bye.